Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab, and welcome to another Nerd Chat. I am here with my fellow host,
I'm Jack.
What do you think?
and Jack is tired, but that's fine. But yes, we are going to be talking about something that's kind of been on my mind for a little bit is what should happen when it comes to ports, remakes, and remasters, all that jazz. Because there are some times where a remake or a remaster works really well, and then there's other times where it just completely flops, and instead you just get and it just doesn't do well. But then there's the ports, which I have rarely seen a port do badly. Like, can you think of like so bad that they never want to do that again? Can you think of any time where
Mm-mm.
that's happened?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of an interesting idea because, like, obviously, if you've played a lot of classic games, at this point in time, the easiest way that you're going to be able to replay a classic game is either hoping for it to get a port, or if it gets a remake or a remaster, in which case it might just be like, oh, yeah, this. Because a lot of the remakes and remasters just do not do well. Meanwhile, with a port, like, primarily it is going to be focused on nostalgia and stuff like that. That's going to be the people who are going to be playing it, but also it gives a chance to new players to be able to pick up the game and check it out. Um, I think two recent examples I really want to go over is like uh, the Fire Red Leaf Green, as well as all of the ports that have been happening thanks to the uh, collections via the Nintendo Online. Um, so like we have freaking uh, uh, XD is Pokemon XD is now out on the GameCube uh, classics. There's like a whole shit ton of games on the NES, the SNES, the um, various different systems because they've done so many of these on at this point. That's honestly insane. But like just for most recently, the GameCube Classic, which we just got XD. We're gonna get Coliseum eventually. Luigi's Mansion is on there. One of the original Fire Emblems is on there. Wario World, Chibi Robo, uh, Mario Smash Football slash and Mario Strikers, which is the same thing. It's just different regions. Um, F-Zero, Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and yeah, there's just like a whole bunch of just like random games that from like our childhoods and stuff, and it's kind of insane getting to replay these games. Like I never got a chance to play XD Gale of Darkness or Coliseum because I didn't have a GameCube at the um so finally getting to play that has been a lot of fun to the point where I've been live streaming my adventures in that and just having a blast. And if you've watched any of those, then you'll know that I have actually been surprised by certain things, despite the fact that I have watched like videos and stuff about the game. Um, so it's rather interesting, and PlayStation is also doing a similar-ish thing. Basically, you can purchase any. You can either purchase or get a lot of older games pretty easily on the PlayStation with like. Uh, um, I have Dark Cloud 2. Um, there's like a whole bunch of the Mega Man games. For whatever reason, Legends is not, but that's whatever. Um, Spyro is also a bit of an issue because you can only get the remake, which comparatively that remake is not as bad as say like or as it's not different, so it's not that big of a deal. Um,
It's about to expire.
but yeah, let's think about this for a sec. So obviously there are all of the Pokemon remakes and remasters, which I would say, what would you say was the last good one of those?
The victims. Hard to say.
Yeah, that's I think that's the real issue. Is just like because obviously it wasn't Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. That was garbage. Everyone agrees that those were very bad. We don't want those anymore. Um, I would say Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was fine. It's just it feels so different that I'm not certain it should qualify as a remake. And um, the same thing goes for like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire because like those Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are probably like the best ones for the time, but they also like are a completely new story. So I don't know if that should really count because so I think the last time that we had a remake that really felt like a standard remake was that of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where they didn't change too much from the original, but they improved on certain aspects of it. And then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, like they're so different from the original games that I don't even know if you can technically classify them. Like you could probably classify them as remakes, but they're also like their own thing is the thing. So yeah. Meanwhile, like I said, Heart Gold and Soul Silver are pretty much just verbatim the same as the original Gold, the original Silver. Um, like there's a few extra details and stuff in them, but for the most part, they're the same. Um, it's just improved graphics and stuff like that. Um, so I would say probably either Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire or Heart Gold Soul Silver were the best remakes, and yeah, because like Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, like they're fine, but they're also so drastically different and so different of a concept from like Fire Red Leaf Green, regular Red and Blue. Um, like it's probably closest to that of Yellow, and even then, it's still pretty drastic of a difference. So, but the interesting point about that is that because of what happened with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they haven't done another remake for with Scarlet and Violet, and it's making me wonder if perhaps they're even gonna do one when it comes to Winds and Waves, after Winds and Waves. Um, like, granted, we had Legend ZA, which kind of took the place of being a remake. Um, because it was Arceus. Um, it was basically just like Arceus, and it did ZA did really well, obviously. Um, so I don't know. I think the big thing to like keep in mind with this is like obviously remakes can do well, but they can also do extremely bad. But now we have the ports happening, and I think that that's a really fun aspect to it. Um, like at this point in time, we have for they started off with putting games using the classics. The new well, technically there was the things beforehand where the original Game Boy games, so Fire Red, Green, and Blue, um, and Yellow, were as well as Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Those are all on the Virtual Console um, for the Nintendo 3DS. And we haven't been able to play those since, unfortunately. And they're just gone. And then now there's Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Nintendo Switch via the eShop. And then a lot of the extra games, so like Stadium, Coliseum and XD are going to be on there. I think that a few other games are also planning to be on there, but I'm not certain yet. We haven't seen anything actually specifically. Like we haven't seen Pokemon Channel be announced. We haven't seen like Hey You Pikachu be announced for anything. Or there were a few other ones that I'm not remembering, but yeah. Obviously, we don't know if we're going to be getting any games from the Wii, which is kind of sad. And yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of games, and they could very easily put a lot of these games onto the Switch if they really wanted to, as ports or whatever. Because like we got, I don't know, we've gotten a lot of different things like that, and the question kind of is rising up now is, do people port the games and basically keep them exactly the way they are, where primarily the people who are going to be picking up these games are the nostalgia people as well as people who never got a chance to play them, and because they're just so expensive otherwise, are just getting them now. Um, so, I don't know. It's a lot less work to just port a game than it is to say to remaster or to remake, because at this point, we're probably never going to have another um, just straight remaster. Remasters are kind of going away now because they're not taking the like sure there is kind of the remaster with the ports, because they do have to change certain things in order to make it function on the current systems, um because TVs and technology has been so drastically different that uh they have like there were a lot of things, especially with the older games, with the older um where they have to just adjust things in order for things to make sense properly. Like if you were to play like some of the NES games, you you probably would it probably wouldn't look as good because the old TVs just couldn't handle it properly. So, just some things that are popping up in my mind right away. Um, but yeah, I don't know. The but also with the rise of porting systems recently, it's kind of to me it's risen another question of why aren't they just porting every game to the current systems?
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many. Like if we just let's real quick like if we just focus on Pokemon right now. Obviously we have let me make sure I'm looking at the correct information here. So so right now with the N64, obviously you can the Nintendo Classics, they have the original Snap on the N64 one. Um, they have a lot of the other games. Most they haven't really done anything with the main series games. The only game so far with the main series that has been ported to the Switch has been Fire Red and Leaf Green. None of the others have been. Um, Obviously, the original Game Boy games were ported to the were ported to the 3DS, thanks to the Virtual Console. But the problem is that with those specifically, you can't really play them anymore. So, like, why not port those? Why not get all of those in there? Why is Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald not in there? I can kind of understand the DS stuff right now, but we'll get to that eventually. Is my hope. But like if we look at like the side games, obviously the original Stadium is in there. Coliseum is coming. XD is coming. And then for we still don't have Hey You Pikachu. We don't have Pokemon Channel. We don't have some of the there's a lot of TCG. I'm not going to get into all of those, but we don't have Pokemon Pinball at all. Like granted, Pinball has been gone for a while, so that makes some sense. We don't have the those were online, so that makes sense. The Detective Pikachu games, we only have the most recent one with Detective Pikachu Returns. And we don't have like any of the Wii games, but that those will come. Those will eventually, hopefully. Please, I want to replay Poke Park. That would be awesome. But yes, and like I don't know. There's a lot of just various different games, and specifically when it comes to the game, like anything pre-GameCube, especially, like why are there not more Mario games in the frickin' or Mario and Zelda games that are in the classics systems? We have the we have the NES, we have the SNES, we have the Nintendo 64, we have the Game Boy Advance and the Game Boy. We should have all of those games in there, and yet we don't. So that's those are some things that concern me a little bit at this point in time. Obviously, with the GameCube, we'll probably get a lot of them relatively quickly, but like. There was a SpongeBob game and a I want to say it was like Jimmy Neutron game that were both on the original GameCube, and I have heard absolutely nothing from those two games that they're going to be on the GameCube Classics. Like, granted, I believe that it was Battle for Bikini Bottom, or that was the well, I think there was Battle for Bikini Bottom, but I think there was another SpongeBob game for the GameCube. Do you remember what that would have been?
I don't.
Okay, let me see here. So yeah, there was Battle for Bikini Bottom, which obviously that just got remade into the Rehydrated, and I think that's fine. Okay, so there was Creature from the Krusty Krab, and one for the movie, as well as Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. So there was like a whole bunch of these movies or these video games that were for SpongeBob. So it's actually way more than I thought it was. Because I'm seeing at least three games that I didn't even know about, that I wasn't even thinking about. So yeah, there was one for the movie. There was Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, and there was Creature from the Krusty Krab. those were the three games besides Battle for Bikini Bottom. I'm not expecting Battle for Bikini Bottom to get remastered because it was to be ported onto this thing, because we just got the remaster and they'd rather people buy Rehydrated than give them the free version through, or the cheaper version I should say, through using the GameCube version. At least that's what I'm guessing. That but like, there's all these other ones, and there was nothing there. I think there was also, like I said, a Jimmy Neutron one. I want to make sure of that. Yeah, what was the Jimmy Neutron game? Yeah, so there was. Okay, so they did Boy Genius. They did a few of these. Okay, so there were 3, I think. Because they did Boy Genius, which was based on the movie. They did Jet Fusion, which I don't think that had anything to do with the original, with the show, and Attack of the Twonkies. Those are the ones I'm seeing information about. And like, granted, how many people nowadays are thinking about Jimmy Neutron? Like, until I brought it up. Have you thought? When was the last time that you thought about Jimmy Neutron?
I like Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, but I understand that you like it. But when was the last time you thought about it?
I don't know.
So
Not
yeah.
often.
Yeah. So I don't think that people really think too much about it. So it's not the end of the world. Yeah, I can like I'm like trying to search. There it is, Jimmy Neutron. Here we go. If I search Jimmy Neutron on the place, yeah, doesn't even say anything for that, which is fine. I kind of expected that to be the case, but yeah, and like those are just like games that popped into my head as being some games that were gonna be that are on the GameCube that are not specifically in the Nintendo Games Classic. Part of me thinks that that it might be because of the fact that other consoles would also get some of these games. But then there's freaking Soul Calibur, and I think that that's probably like my biggest point in favor of like, get some of these classic games that were on a lot of different systems into the GameCube collection. And like, granted, Soul Calibur 2 specifically, each version of the game had a different character that was that you could play as. So the GameCube had Link. I believe PlayStation, I think, was Darth Vader. And then I think the Xbox was no, wait, I'm wrong. I think it was either 3 or 4 that had the Darth Vader Yoda thing, because you could get I think you could purchase the other one. I think it was actually a character from Tekken was the one that was in the PS2 one. And then it was, I think, Spawn when it came to it was Spawn for Xbox, and it was one of the guys from Tekken that was in the PS2 one. Which is just like that's such a weird idea. But at the same time, it makes you wonder, like, oh, would they put all of these games onto the different systems? And then I don't know about, I think it was it 3 or was it 4? It might have been 4 that was the one that had Darth Vader. I think it was 4 that had Darth Vader. I don't know. I haven't played the old Soul. I'm not remembering all of the Soul Calibur things. But my point remains: put the games on the systems, because like there's very little reason to not have these games at this point, because how much do you actually need to do? There's very little comparatively. It's a lot less work to get your game onto a new system if it was an older game. Granted, a lot of these companies have like gone defunct at this point, but like Level 5 is still making like a ton of games, and they managed to get Dark Cloud and Dark Cloud 2 onto the PlayStation. I think also Rogue Galaxy. I would have to double check that, but they managed to get those on the PlayStation. And granted, that might be because of PlayStation's specific deal. But yeah, I don't know. There's all sorts of things with that, and like specifically, I'm like granted. So many of the I grew up on PlayStation, you grew up on Nintendo, so there's like a disconnect when it comes to classic games that we played. Um, but like but if we specifically look at PlayStation for just a moment, you cannot get like 90% of the PS1. Well, maybe not 90%, but a lot of the PlayStation 1 games you cannot get anymore. Like you can't play Mega Man Legends. Um, you can't Spyro. The only version of Spyro that you can get on any system at this point in time is Reignited. I believe. I believe that's the only version that you can get.
You catch
I misspelled Spyro. Yeah. So in terms of like Spyro games, the only one that you can get is the Reignited trilogy. You can't get Legends. You can't get the classic that was on the PS1 or a port of it. And it's like, I understand that you want to get more money because you did the Reignited trilogy, but at the same time, like for Spyro specifically, like do $5 and for each one, and like for each of the original three, and you get a little bit of money, and especially one thing that would be that a lot of people might do is be like, oh, let me compare the original trilogy to Reignited trilogy and see like what's different. Granted, it's not much, but yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, you can't get like Mega Man Legends, which was honestly amazing, and I'm still mad that they refused to port that. They refused to do anything with that, despite the fact that it was really good. People don't. I wish that more people could play it, because it is actually a really good game. And yeah. Obviously, all of the Final Fantasies are currently on the system, so I'm not going to go into those. I'm trying to think of like other like classic games. What were the classics for Nintendo? Because a lot of them are now on the systems, or now in like the GameCube Classic and so on. Like obviously there was Mario, Zelda, and those are slowly getting ported. Like obviously we have Wind Waker. We have pretty much. I think we have the original two Zeldas from the NES are on the as well as all the SNES games, the Game Boy games, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I don't think we necessarily need to worry about that. I don't remember all of the different Mario games that were available on the different systems. Or all of the different Smash Bros. But yeah.
Me neither.
So but I do know that one of the Smash Bros, one of the very early ones, was on the GameCube, and it's not currently on this, and they haven't put that onto the store. Although that might have been confirmed. Let's see here. This is not giving me enough information. That's just telling me the current games. It's not telling me. Do they have the trailer? The original trailer for that? Do they have the ones that were confirmed? Okay, so there are going to be a few. So we know that Super Mario Sunshine is at some point going to be on there, and Coliseum is at some point going to be on there. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. There's so much with it, and it's just like how I don't know. It's not too much. I know it's a bit. It is going to be a bit of effort in order to get all of the different systems or all of the different games onto the different systems. Like, sure, I would love to play. I think when specifically looking at like Coliseum, and I've said this already for why I think that they might have decided to do Coliseum second rather than doing before or after XD, is because they want to do a few edits to the game. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, another thing that also kind of concerns me about as they've ported these things is, will they allow us to actually like move some of the like Pokemon from XD and Coliseum into Pokemon Home? I'm really hoping that they will, but we don't know yet. So hopefully they allow it, but they haven't confirmed anything yet, is the problem. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah. What's it? Also, if a game is PS2 or older, which would include the GameCube games, why not allow them to be on all systems? That's another question. Like, I can kind of understand, like, Nintendo, because they're very protective of their babies. But, like, PlayStation, and Xbox, specifically, I'm looking at you two. Why not allow your games to go to the Switch? Like one of the things I'm imagining is a collaboration between PlayStation and Nintendo, and then also like Xbox and Nintendo, and basically what it could be is PlayStation Classics, and PlayStation Classics, PlayStation 2 Classics, and then Xbox Classics. I think that would basically be it for Xbox. It would just be the Xbox Classics. They probably would. I don't think they're going to go to 360 and PS3 yet, because those are still relatively new. So yeah, we'll see what they do with those. But like, imagining for a second, especially like PlayStation Classics, and it would be an app both on it would be on PlayStation, it would be on Xbox, and it would be on Nintendo, and basically it's a big collaboration between them, where they get all of their games for a specific era of games, and they allow the players to play them. So, like, obviously certain games would not be included, like, the original Final Fantasies, the original through 9, because those are already all available on every single system. Any game that is already available on all of the systems as a purchase, those would not be included. But like, put the original Mega Man Legends, put the original put Spyro Legends. Well, that's PS2, but yeah. So PlayStation, we could have like I said, Mega Man Legends, as well as the Misadventures of Tron Bonne. We could have. I'm trying to think of like all of the different classics. Classics catalog. Okay, here we go. This is not telling me actual classics. That's telling me old. That's just PlayStation being dumb. Riven, as well as like the other ones. Does this actually tell me classics? I don't know. Games. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, here's like a decent image. The original Crash trilogy, the original Spyro trilogy, Mist and Riven, frickin' Mega Man Legends, Tomb Raider, like the original Tomb Raider, that was on there. Parappa the Rappa, Tekken, Soul Calibur's already. I don't know. I think Soul Calibur, the original Soul Calibur, is already available on places. The Soul Calibur 2 is PS2, so I'm not sure. And so on and so forth. Various different games. Like, that's scratching the tip of the iceberg, because honestly, when it comes to especially the GameCube and the PS2 era of video games, there are so many. Oh my gosh. Like, legitimately, right now I have more PS4 games than any other console. I believe. But there are significantly more PS2 games. And like, specifically with the PS2 era of gaming, is that we had like all of these classic video game movie or movies based off video games, or sorry, other way around, video games based on movies. And like, those, the PS2 era actually had like some of the best versions of these. Like, we had Spiderwick, which amazing. Robots. We had Shrek was kind of weird, but that's I'm still counting it. I'm forgetting like some of the other ones, but I've played like a whole shit ton of these. I think that was also the era of the Underminer happened at that point. And yeah, so on and so forth. Like, could you imagine being able to play all of those games? And also, like, because we're at the GameCube era, that also means that we could technically be getting like the original Lego not Lego Spider, Lego Star Wars, the original 2 Lego Star Wars games. Those could end up on the Nintendo GameCube classics. Because I believe they were both on. I believe those were on the GameCube. I could be wrong about that. I know for a fact they were on the PS2, but I think that they were also on the GameCube. We could get Indiana Jones, the original Lego Batman, and like, I would love to have those on like a modern system, because then like, you could show those to some of the kids nowadays and be like, this is where Lego started. Before we got the Lord of the Rings, DC supervillains, Hobbit, freaking Skywalker Saga, like especially like Skywalker Saga. Show them the original Lego Star Wars that was on the PS2, and I think it was also on the GameCube. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was. But yeah, that was on PS2, and I think it was on GameCube.
Everything we had.
But yeah, it had to have been.
So
Show
last
them
one.
those and be like, this is where this started. This is what we had before we had the amazingness that is Skywalker Saga.
Yeah.
Like, as much like, I still say that the original games, those two original games for Lego Star Wars 1 and Lego Star Wars 2, both were so good in like founding the Lego game genre, and it would just be absolutely insane to me to see those to see those get ported onto the GameCube Classic, and just seeing kids playing those again and being like, wow, this is different. And like, I don't know, granted, like at that point graphics were are nowhere near at the same level as they are now, but also like, especially with the Nintendo GameCube classics, they've done quite a bit of work to make these games actually like playable on modern systems. In fact, actually, they have done more with the Nintendo classics than I think pretty much anyone else would have. Because like I said, I've been playing Dark Cloud 2 recently, and I've said that multiple times. And it has like all of the old glitches, which I don't know if they like have removed any of the glitches from the Nintendo classics, because I'm not fully aware of all of them. But it's one of the things that I really want to test once I get Coliseum, because I know for a fact that Coliseum had that glitch where you could swap the position of the Pokeballs and you would duplicate your Pokeballs. So I'm wondering if they still have that, if they will have that glitch in the when they add it into the Nintendo Classics. I don't know if it was in XD, but yeah, that would just be so much fun to me to be able to play those again. And like I said, allowing players to play through all of these various different games again, and I just think it would be so much fun. It really would. And like, there are so many games, especially that I've like talked to. We've talked to each other about like some of the classic games that we grew up playing, and like, because you grew up on Nintendo and I grew up on PlayStation, we have two very different views of the game systems. Like I have like the Final Fantasies, Kingdom Hearts, the Dark Cloud games. Well, you have like Mario. I don't know what other games did you play as a kid? I don't remember.
Chat.
Huh?
Oh.
Oh.
Look at the chat.
This.
Took a little bit of time.
Oh, you put this one. Disney Universe. Yes, you've said that so many times. Yeah, that could be awesome.
Need it.
Yeah, Disney Universe would be very fun to see that be playable again. And like obviously I've never played it, and like we've talked about that significantly, is like there were a ton of games that, just because of the fact that they were on like classic Nintendo, I think with that specifically it's probably going to be a while, because that was Wii, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm not expecting any Wii games until, I want to say, 2028 at the earliest. And that's like I said, I think that is like, even that feels too early to me before we see like the Wii games getting ported onto here. As much as that would be very fun, I do think that they are going to be doing yeah, I don't know. They have so many. My point is with like the classics is that they're going to continue to put more games into here, and we'll see more of the different games over time. Obviously, next week is not next week. In about 2 months, we are probably going to be getting another Nintendo Direct, and with that Nintendo Direct, we'll probably get the information about like all of these other about a whole bunch of new games, including like games that are going to be coming to the GameCube classics. Maybe they'll even confirm if there will be a Wii version, a Wii game. But yeah, I don't know. The Wii games. I don't know. The Wii was weird. The Wii was very, very weird when I think about that. But I don't know. Anyways, that's probably a good spot for us to call it. Anyways,
Oh.
and yeah, we'll figure things out. We're gonna look. I don't know. Hopefully they do some more porting. That's the big thing. Please port the games. We really want to see more ports. Of and also, like, yes, remasters can do really well, and yes, they can be really fun, but also ports, please, more of them. Like, especially games that we cannot play because they're just on different systems would be amazing. Put freaking put PlayStation classics onto the Nintendo. And like I said, I don't think it necessarily has to be like these the most modern games, because that would just be insane. But you could. But anyways, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed today's nerd chat and are looking forward to the next few videos and live streams. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja, and I'll see you guys next time. But on.
But you're close.